Hey there, and welcome to the Bear Farmer channel. Today, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be repotting this avocado tree. And why, you might ask, didn't you just repot your avocado tree? Yes, I did. However, I've learned a few things about avocado trees that I did not know before. And the soil mixture that I currently have the avocado tree in is eventually going to kill it. It may not be now, it may be 2 or 3 years from now, but it eventually is going to suffocate the roots. And why that is because there's a lot of this in here. You can see that is organic material, and it's specifically wood. And wood decomposes, and as wood decomposes, it sucks oxygen out of the root systems, and avocados love oxygen in their roots. They love sandy, clay, loamy type soil, and don't necessarily grow in areas where there's a lot of decomposing plant material. They don't mind it being on top of the soil, but if it's down where the roots are, it'll actually suffocate and kill the plant. The other thing that having all that organic material in the dirt does is it causes root rot, because as all that organic material is breaking down and decaying and turning into food for the plants, it's also rotting. And avocado trees are very susceptible to root rot, and that will actually expedite the process of the root rot hitting the plant. So what we want to make sure we're going to do is get all of that organic material out and plant it in something that's going to be better for the avocado tree to take root and be able to absorb the nutrients without having all those suffocation issues in the avocado base and the root ball of the avocado tree. So what I'm going to be planting it in instead is this stuff right here, which is a cactus and palm mix. And it doesn't have a lot of organic material in it, and the organic material that it does have is already decomposed, so it's not going to be causing rot issues, and it's mostly sphagnum moss and things of that nature that are mainly decomposed already. So it's not going to cause the root rot issues, and it is highly recommended to grow avocado trees in if you're going to pot them. I am going to be planting it in the same type of a container, this cloth container, because it is a little bit easier on the roots to breathe, and it does, when the roots hit the side of that cloth pot, they'll stop growing out, and it will actually aerate them at the same time. So that's a good thing for our plants and our trees especially. We want them to be able to get as much oxygen as possible, which will cause them to grow much quicker. And as you can see, this thing's been growing for about 6 months now, and it's extremely stunted, and that's probably because the roots are suffocating and starting to rot. So we need to fix that as quickly as possible, or we're going to lose this tree. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, one thing I want to talk about real fast, and while I'm transplanting this, is look at this root ball right here. You see how a lot of these roots look white and healthy, and then a lot of these roots look black and dead? Well, these roots that look black and dead, look at how dense this is right around the base of the avocado plant here. It's just full of twigs and sawdust and dead material, and it's exactly what the guide I was looking at on avocados was talking about. This has absolutely no room to breathe in here, and it's just suffocating these roots, which is why we're not getting any growth out of this whatsoever. So I'm going to continue rinsing this off and we're gonna plant this in hopes that it will rejuvenate these roots and we will get some more growth out of this tree. If not, it might just be too far gone at this point, but we'll see, because we do have some white growth and everything down here, but it's just not able to get any nutrient to the plant, so we're not getting any growth out of it. So hopefully we can save this guy and still get some good growth out of it. And that's exactly what I was afraid of. As you can see, all the way down that stem there, even on the inside of that seed there is just no new root growth. All the new root growth is here at the bottom, but everything inside that root along that stem is just rotting next to where all that compost and everything was the first time. And that's exactly what we want to try to avoid when we replant it, is getting that compost around the stem and the root system. Hopefully this thing will start to produce some new roots here above the stem area, and we'll start to get some good growth in here. This is really kind of disappointing, but this is what I was afraid of, and this is why I wanted to transplant it. Now, one thing I want to point out here, when you're transplanting your avocado, no matter how big of a pot you're transplanting it into, a lot of people have a tendency to want to bury the seed that it was planted in, but you always want to have the seed above the ground so that the root system is getting the water and the nutrient. And you don't want to cover this, because you'll start getting stem rot right here, and that will also cause a lot of issues with it rotting and dying underneath of there. So you want to make sure the stem is planted above your ground or your soil, whatever soil medium you're planting it in. The stem and the seed need to be above the soil line. So now I'm going to go ahead and water that in with some pH neutral water. Avocados do not like a lot of alkaline in their water. They like a mildly acidic water, somewhere in the range of between 6 and 7. So I'm going to go ahead and water that in. Now we know we watered it in well because we can see the drainage coming out from under the bottom, which is what we want. Now we want to make sure that the water is getting all the way through the container that we planted it in. So we want to see water coming out the bottom like I just showed you. That means that we got a good watering in, the water's penetrating, and it's draining well. We don't want water to stand for more than about half an hour in that avocado container. Loose, free draining soil is what avocados like. So that's what we're gonna give it. Hopefully this new mixture will allow those roots to spread out, to grow, to revitalize, and we don't end up losing this avocado tree, because I really want some avocados, and this thing should be growing way faster than it was, which let me know that there is something wrong. Avocado trees should be growing 2 to 3 feet a year in good conditions. And we knew that even though it wasn't growing anywhere near that rate, that was an indicator that was telling us that something was wrong with this tree. And I had a feeling we were dealing with some root rot issues, and it wasn't able to absorb the nutrients that we were giving it, and they weren't penetrating deep enough, and it just wasn't able to breathe and get what it needed. So hopefully we fix that. We'll have some updates coming on how it's doing. And so thanks for watching. I hope you learned something from this. I've certainly learned something from this experience, and next time I plant an avocado tree, I will be making sure that I get rid of that dirt around the base of it and get it in some loose, broken up, well-draining, sandy, loamy soil that it's gonna love. And we're gonna go ahead and feed it here in about a week, and I'll show you what I'm gonna use to feed that with in that video. So again, thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this content, please give us a thumbs up. It'll really help us out. And in order to see more videos about this avocado tree, you're gonna have to go ahead and subscribe. Till next time, we'll see you later. God bless.